Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the season finale. We're going to get all the drivers ready up, and we're going to get going with our season finale for Tier 1. And I don't know about you, but I am very excited, very scared, very worried, but also very interested to see what is going to go on for this session. 17 drivers on the grid. You can see, you should be able to see. It's not deciding to show at the moment. Let's get that updated. There you go. You should be able to see now with ease. All of the drivers in the lobby. There you go. It is almost a full grid. And it is going to be, without a doubt, a very exciting race. Good luck, Rico. You've probably gone by now. But we'll have quite an exciting race. We have ourselves a championship battle. If you haven't seen our Twitter post made by one of our championship contenders, Mr. Soybean himself, who is in a battle with his friend and his foe, Mr. Soybean. So it is Rico in the Alfa Romeo with 133 points against Mr. Soybean with 147. Very close battle between the pair of them. It is going to be very exciting to see what they have in store for us. We've also got a few names and faces returning to the track today. A lot of reserve drivers. So it'll be exciting to see what they have in store for us. Let's have a look whilst we're loading into the lobby for the standings, because it is also a Constructors' Championship on this table to be won. Red Bull in the lead with 170 points, whilst Alfa Romeo are in P2 with 168. And Ferrari, whilst are 40 points or 30 points off of the fight at 142, they still could potentially get their way back into this fight. But, of course, that would mean both drivers, or both teams, Red Bull and Alfa Romeo, can score no points. So now 18 minutes of qualifying and almost a full grid. We do have Boosty retiring. Of course, he has a qualifying ban to serve this session for the season finale. Of all the sessions, it's the season finale, unfortunately, where he has to serve it. But following the rules, he has to retire at the start of the session. That's what he's done. So let's have a look. Good luck, GG Land. McLaren driver in for the final race of the season. And Matt Pryor looks like to be the first driver who's going to leave the pits. Let's get all of this information up at the screen. Pardon me. But as I was mentioning, Cos Silva as well with a penalty to serve, qualifying ban. We've got a few names, a few faces on the track. Matt Pryor being one of them. New to the grid, but we have seen them race before. We've seen them put in some excellent laps in the past. So it'll be interesting to see what they have in store for us. But we've got Matt Pryor reserving in for Alfa Romeo, unconfirmed, so unfortunately no constructor points will be scored there. Mick for Red Bull, we've seen him return. He raced at Jeddah for Red Bull as well. Chewy Toffee in for the Aston Martin. We've got Boltash, the provisional Tier 2 champion, after having an sensational and incredible, incredibly lucky and very fortunate race for the AlphaTauri driver. He is a full-time AlphaTauri driver. He was in a head-to-head battle with Vabo, Red Bull versus AlphaTauri, two sister teams. And Boltash went from basically, I think, towards the back of the grid to a podium place, to third place, to win the championship. Head-to-head battle, 93 points between the pair of them. So that was incredible to see. We then have, I think, Nadim is then the final reserve. Nadim, he is a champion. He is quite fast. He's probably one of our fastest drivers. It's been a while since we've seen him hit the track, though, so it's going to be incredible to see. I'm excited to see. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm excited to see what he has in store for us. But Matt Pryor, for the first lap of the session, he's going to put provisional lap times, provisional sector times. Already at qualifying, I'm messing up my words on the simplest things. Do bear with me, folks. I do have water. I will survive. If you did not see Tier 2, it was carnage and it was chaos. So many exciting battles. So many drivers so close together. We had, I think, multiple incidents where they were 4, nearly 5 wide on the straights. So, as much as that is really good racing, as much as I do love that kind of racing, I'm also not looking forward to that, because I'm I'm gonna need a new pair of lungs after this race if that happens, but we'll have to see. Matt Pryor now coming into the second sector. He's actually got a couple of McLarens just ahead of him who are going to get out of the way for him. And for the second sector, of course, will be purple, and it's going to be a 107.9. That middle sector, actually, will be a 38.9 as a skill issue. Haas driver, or Haas TP as well, improves by 9.5 tenths. So as soon as Matt Pryor crosses the line, we're going to have a new provisional leader. So Matt Pryor now, what can he do for his race? He puts in a 130.1, and then we're going to have Mix cross the line in just a moment. And Mix is going to go on for pole with a 128.270. And I think a low 128 was the fastest lap time we had in Tier 2. Results TP for AlphaTauri goes in for P3. Chewy for P2, a 28.686, and then a 29.612. And that's just Mix getting completely off the track, off the road. For fast drivers coming through. So let's have a look through the grid. Recent news, if you haven't seen it, to hit the headlines last week. As I retire as Ferrari team principal after 5 seasons, 5 glorious seasons, and I've enjoyed every minute of it, winning 2 Constructor Championships. Mr. GOAT signs on as the new Ferrari TP, so this will be his final race in that beautiful blue car, in that Williams car. And he will go on next season in the beautiful, I have to say, I love, it's just red at the moment, but next season's car, when the F124 comes out, the nice, like, you got the small red strip or white strip and the yellow strip on the side pods. Mr. GOAT will be running in the red Scarlet Ferraris as TP, and I believe he is going to sign himself as well. I can't imagine him not doing that, so we'll be able to see him racing red once again. Did race for Ferrari last season and helped secure us the championship lead. Soybean. Okay, never mind. Soybean with an entirely different lap time to everyone else. 27.864. Of course, the Red Bull driver who is in contention, looking to win his first championship title here at Phoenix, will go on for pole with a 4/10 improvement. And it wasn't just in fact, it was in one sector. He only gained 8 100ths in the first sector, 2.5 tenths in the second sector, and 9 100ths in that third sector. As Mr. GOAT goes through for P4 with a 128.589, quickly demoted by Mick, crossing the line with a 128.270. Wait, no. Rico, sorry, my bad, folks. Rico crossed the line recently with a 128.033. His competitor is still 2 tenths ahead of him. And unfortunately, I can't see where he lost the time, but he is running on lower fuel. And in the speed trap, he's running slower than Soybean. This is just the first run. Of course, the track will ramp up, the speed will ramp up, the grip will ramp up significantly. So we're going to be able to see what they can do. Panos now, P6, a 128.558. GG Land gets in there for P8, and Baltash P9, or P10, sorry. Still got a few drivers yet to set a lap. We've got Mika and the Williams teammate to Mr. GOAT currently going through that second sector now. 29.0 in that first sector. Not the best sector, but still promising. There's a slight snap there. Could see squirrely on the exit there of corner 8, now coming into 9 and 10. Very careful on the brakes. Easy to lock up, of course, with ABS off. The drivers are easy to lock up the fronts or lock up the rears. Mix, bro, what's up? My lap was cooking. Your lap was cooking, mate, but you are still 4 tenths from P1. I think you've got it in you. I think, Mr. Haasman, you can get it on pole. I think you have the pace. If you can cook, you got to cook even more. Chewy Toffee looks to be apparently on a lap, but he's not. He's in the pits. That's incredible. Apparently, Chewy Toffee, to my data sheets, has improved by 25.5 seconds in the middle sector. So he's looking to set a 1-minute lap time. That is incredible. Soybean is insane, I do agree. A 27.8 on a banker is like none other. But this is Soybean. It is purely a battle between Soybean and Rico for the championship. And honestly, they are matched with one another for the pace. The fact that I am 1/1000. Oh my god, you are 1/1000. I didn't even notice that. I do apologize, Mix. But Mix makes a very good point that he is just 1/1000th of a second off the pace from Nadim. And Nadim on a one-lap wonder there puts it in on the softs and qualifies P3 at the moment. So that is a very good lap time indeed. But let's see the timer. 9.5 minutes remaining. Drivers are just sitting and waiting patiently. And I imagine they are waiting for that timer to tick down, go down to about 4 or 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes at the latest, to leave and go for their final lap of the session. If you bear with me for a second, I can actually tell you when is the last time they can leave. At the very end, you can leave for the final run at 2 minutes 30 or earlier. So we've still got 6 minutes to go before we get to that final lap. A lot of drivers are coming out. We've got Rico out and Nadim's just leaving the pits as well. So I think a lot of drivers are going to try and go for their second run, potentially go for a third run at the very end of it. Look at that sight. Look at all of the drivers on the grid. It is just that quiet portion of qualifying now. We've got to wait for the drivers to get through. Of course, let through some of the drivers. We've got Chewy, who's on a lap provisionally in that second sector. Not looking at improvement. We'll have to see what he does at the end of the sector. Of course, the game can sometimes lie on what their true pace is. They do have some traffic ahead of them. They are going to get themselves a bit of a tow here. Ferrari gets out the way just in time. So just a little bit of a tow there, cutting some of the air ahead of them. And let's see what the Aston Martin driver can do for the second sector now. Does have a Williams ahead of him. Hopefully they do not get in the way, and he is unfortunately 0.3 slower on his previous lap. So we'll have to see what he can do. I think he might be looking to box now. Grab himself a fresh set of tyres, grab some fuel. You can see on the indicator there he is low on fuel. But a lot of drivers are going to be crossing the line now. And in fact, Mr. Mix, because I missed out on your previous lap, we're going to stay with you. We're going to see what you can do for your second flying lap of the session into the first sector, or the first few corners. He hits the apex beautifully now, but be careful on the throttle. Don't want to take too much curb. Of course, you can catch, your tyre can catch the edge of the curb. You can go spinning out. Now coming down into the fourth corner. Beautiful sequence of corners here. Don't want to run out too wide. Thankfully, the track limit is that white line, and it is quite wide. The birth of the track there. He does find himself 7/100 slower than the previous lap. Now for the second sector. Stops just in time for the 8th corner. Now 9 and 10. Downhill left-hander. He does stop the car. He does hit the apex beautifully. Right on the power now. DRS wide open. Getting through the gears as quickly as he can. And now for the second sector. He's just got 2 corners left. It's a beautiful long left-hander. You haven't got to gear down too much. Stay up on the power, stay quick with your reactions. Don't amount too much of the curb on the inside. It is classified for many people on many games. I think all the way down to 2018, 2019. That is the death curve. I know for certain 2020 is the death curve. And now with just 1 corner left to go, the third sector only consisting of 2 corners. What can Mix, the Haas team principal, what can he do for his second flying lap of the session? DRS wide open, DRS and ERS is basically depleted, and he proves up to P4 with a 128.134 as he is then quickly demoted by Nadim, crossing the line with a purple final sector. Nadim, oh my goodness, gets a purple first and last sector, but by 1/1000th of a second does he improve to get the fastest sector in the first sector. The second sector he improves by 0.02 of a second. And in the third sector, sorry, and then the second sector, it was 1.5 tenths. So the first and third sector, very close, matching with the rest drivers. 1/1000th now splits Nadim and Mick. It is a provisional Red Bull front row lockout, and championship contender Rico is still in the pits. He's not gone out for second lap. He dove straight into the pits, so I think he might be waiting for the final few, the dying few moments of the session. 2 minutes left before you hit that cutoff point, and you cannot put in a lap. Let's see who is on a lap right now. Mika is certainly not on a lap. Out of ERS, low on the fuel. Ferrari driver just behind. That's not going to be Bruising. That might be Panos there, and I think Panos might be on a flying lap as well. Second sector, apparently to the game, is not looking like an improvement. We'll have to see what he does as he crosses the middle sector line, the third sector line. And yeah, he is definitely not on a lap. 6.5 seconds, 7 seconds off the pace from his previous lap. I think that was a Williams driver just off on the side of the road there. I think, yeah, Mika is definitely in low fuel mode. Just barely able to limp it back to the pits, and everyone is going to come out. Come into the pits, but Mr. Boltash, Tier 2 Championship winner, is gone out for an out lap with 3.5 minutes remaining. So he's looking to get a lap in before the traffic starts. Yes, Mix, these guys are fast, but you are faster. You are 1/10, only 1/10 off the pace from Rico. I think you've got the chance now more than ever to try and get ahead of the Alfa Romeo, perhaps ahead of Nadim. I think you gotta believe in the heart of the cards, Mix. You gotta believe in heart of the cards that you can put in a wonderful 27 lap time. Only 3 drivers in the 127s. And hopefully we can see Boltash do it. He's going to come around the final corner. 3 minutes remaining. Drivers are going to be looking to leave the pits in the next 36 seconds. And the McLaren driver, full-time AlphaTauri driver, and the provisional Tier 2 champion is going to go for his final flying lap of the session with a very clear track into the first corner. Hits the apex beautifully. Stops the car just in time. Onto the throttle now. And onto the second DRS straight. Wide open now. 16 extra kilometers per hour on the straights with the DRS, and of course with a circuit like this where, I mean, I say high downforce is important. High downforce, low downforce, they're all important. It is a matter of priority. Do you want to prioritize the second sector where Boltash is in now, or he's trying to go through these beautiful sequence of corners left and right, hit the brakes? You really want to get the car slowed down, get the car turned in. You can see there for a moment the McLaren driver struggling to get his car turned to the right. Now into 9 and 10. Red Bull just getting out of the way, and he locks up, and I think he's going to have to abandon that lap. And perhaps, hopefully, he has enough fuel left. He's trying to get out that corner as soon as he can. I think that was Soybean, so perhaps that was a hot lap blocked. It didn't look like it, but we'll have to see. Boltash has certainly abandoned that lap. And I think he's going to try and run to the pits. Not run to the pits, sorry, run to the line. No. He's going to keep on going. He's still using ERS. I don't think he's got enough fuel, so I think Boltash is going to have to settle with a provisional P11. And I think, unfortunately for the McLaren driver, he is going to get demoted further down as the 4 drivers behind him are on for an outlap. And they are going to find quite a lot of improvement. There you go. The McLaren driver is going to go into the pits, and that's going to be qualifying done for him. Who's going to be the first driver to cross the line? It's going to be Soybean, the championship leader, is going to cross the line, and it is going to be Red Bull to potentially score a front row lockout for our season finale. And well, as much as I don't like Red Bull in real life, they are certainly got an exciting and a thrilling lineup this season. And Soybean, who's been there for basically every race, 2 DNFs this season, one completely not his fault. It was an unfortunate power cut to his house, and he was unable to compete. And the second one was just a driver error. So perhaps he can finish the season on a high, and he finishes the first sector on a high. 1 sector with a 1/10 improvement. Now he's got the second sector just coming up. Rico just behind. He's going to cross the line, and he doesn't find improvement. Rico is 1/10 down. There is a 2/10 difference between the 2 championship contenders as we now come round. Oh, beautifully done. 9 and 10. He stops the car just in time, hits the apex. DRS wide open now, and Mr. Soybean is going to come through for the second sector. Could he set another purple sector? Does he have the pace, or will it be Rico to find the pace? Nadim as well has just crossed the line. Not purple sector, but Mr. Soybean. It is a 1.5 improvement in that second sector. Rico crosses the line for the second sector. It is going to be a 0.5 improvement, and he does get that purple middle sector, so he is on pace. And we'll have to jump back to Nadim in a minute as Soybean crosses the line now for the final lap of the season. And he improves to a 1:27.672. Now, Rico, Alfa Romeo, crosses the line. P4 at the moment. Can he improve? He does not improve enough. It is now 2/1000ths of a second between 2, 3, and 4. He is just 1/1000th of a second off of Nadim. Let's have a look at Nadim as he comes round towards the final corner. He does have a provisional improvement in that second sector. Nadim looking like a contender for this race without a doubt. He's going to come to the line. DRS is wide open. What can the Mercedes or the man do? He goes P2. It is a 1:27.898. So now 2/1000th of a second between Mick and Rico. Mick's going to dive into the pits. Mick has invalidated his lap. Mr. Panos is going to come around the final corner. He's going to have himself a little bit of a toe. Now down to the line. DRS is wide open. Can he find improvement? He does. It's a 1:28.035 to 5th place. Mick is out. Julian is going to cross the line in just a moment. And there's going to be no lap improvement. Oh, sorry, not enough of a lap improvement for Julian. Stays in P7. Gigi Lan's already crossed the line, and Mr. Goat is not on a flying lap, I do not believe here. He is not on a flying lap, and that's going to be the end of qualifying as Soybean continues to put in an incredible lap week in and week out and puts it on pole with a 1:27.672. Nadim for P2 with 27.898 and 2/1000ths of a second splitting Mick and Rico. This is very tight. Only 4 drivers in the 1:27s. The rest of the grid are all just a second and a half off the pace. Unfortunately, Zoltz with a 29.59 is nearly 1.6 seconds off the pace, but he's been a consistent driver week in, week out, season after season. And Zoltz, I think, the AlphaTauri team principal, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. 2.5 tenths. What was that? I agree, Mix. You can only go up from here. P6 is an incredible lap. I will give you that much. 1.8 seconds is the gap, sorry, to pole. But, yeah, I wasn't expecting that kind of lap times. I cannot lie. Almost exactly a tenth between Panos and Mix. Like, everyone's so close. Nearly a second. Or just 1/1000th over 9 tenths. Splitting the top 10. Chewy Toffee just at the end of it with a 1:27.573. I'm going to take this moment to have a sip of water whilst the drivers prepare, and I will ping the Tier 1 roll, and we're going to get going in just a moment. Drivers now have an opportunity to set up their race setups. Do they want high wings or low wings? Do they want more fuel or less fuel? Or do they want to start on the hards, on the mediums, or the softs? Now, the 1-stop is possible, but I think the 2-stop might be the more realistic option. We'll have to see what the drivers choose to do, but it is now just the waiting game for 60 seconds before we get going. And I'm going to take a few sips of water before we get on with the chaos of lap 1. And the countdown has started. We're going to get on with this race very shortly. Welcome everyone new to the stream. Welcome to our season finale for Tier 1. Our F1 series has come to a close, or is coming to a close. And we have ourselves a very exciting battle. There you have it, folks. 5 red lights, Red Bull and Mercedes on the front row, Red Bull and Alfa Romeo on the second row. And away we go. Soybean looks to get a pretty clean getaway. Can we get a better angle? There we go. And it is going to be Soybean going to the inside. He's going to heavily defend from the Mercedes. And now going into the first corner, he's going to continue on with the lead. His teammate just by his side. And in fact, his teammate is going to take the lead of the race. Soybean just misses out on P1 there for the first sector. And Nadim and Rico are going to go in for a two-wide battle. You can see as well Alpine and Williams, Haas and McLaren at the back there. And it's going to be the Alfa Romeo having to slot in just behind Nadim. Rico having to slot in just for P4 as Julian goes down a few positions. Mix goes up by a place as well. Balthash, there's a massive battle going on the back of the grid, and Alpine having to go off the track. That's going to be Julian going off the track, and Nadim has been spun around now. Nadim down to P7, and he is still losing position. So Mick leads with his teammate coming very close to him. Almost contact between the pair of the Red Bulls. For a second there, I thought we were going to have ourselves a little bit of a Hamilton-Rosberg situation, or even a Mark Webber and Sebastian Vettel moment, just on the first lap, though, as it's going to look like Mick's trying to look for a move down the inside, not quite close enough to go for a move. Mr. Goat. Mr. Goat has got some incredible pace in the second half of this season, and is now in the lead of the fight. He's in the top 5 for the start of this race, and it is very, very good to see. I'm very glad to see Mr. Goat up there fighting for podiums consistently, as unfortunately you can see at the bottom of the leaderboard if we put on the information there. Mr. Panos has lost, I don't know why I'm saying Mr. with everyone, but Julian Panos and Baltash have lost multiple positions, and Nadim as well, so 4 drivers have lost out. Soybean crosses the line with a 1:35.212 for the fast lap of the session, as Boosty now gets through. Oh, there's a wonderful battle there, as Nadim tries to go for a move on Boosty. Now 3 wide with the Ferrari as well. The first corner, I can only imagine this going horribly wrong, but no, they managed to keep it together. They keep it really clean. Now G-Land's going to come into the battle, and he's going to stick his nose into this business. 2 wide, sorry. The Aston Martin remains ahead, but the Ferrari loses a position. So now Brisen down to P9, G-Land P8. And this is going to be a battle that's going to keep on going. And he's going to try and go for the switchback down the inside on the Ferrari. And around the outside, has he got it? He's got it well in. He's got a move. He's got a brilliant move done there, sorry. Down the inside. And ahead of the Ferrari now. Boosty up 10 places. What is this? Boosty is on another level for Aston Martin. He's gone up from P16 to P6. Of course, with that qualifying ban, he's had to start at the back of the grid. And he is on fire. Cos Silvia as well with a qualifying ban. He's gone from P17 to P10. Hello, Rico. Welcome to the chat. And as we come round for the final sector, we're going to have a look at the tyres there, and you can see why Boosty and Cos have climbed so many places against the competition. Panos and Baltash, unfortunately, lost out places on the same strategy, starting on the soft compound tyre. As Cos Silvia, you can see there, just gets ahead of Brisen. Of course, the hards are going to be harder to heat up, harder to fire up compared to the softs. And we cross the line for the 3rd lap of this race. DRS will be enabled now. And I think we're about to see a battle there again. Nadim going to go down the inside ahead of Boosty. The hard tyres versus the soft tyres. I was just saying how the hards are going to be harder to warm up, but that doesn't matter for Nadim. He goes through and down the inside and ahead of the Aston Martin driver. Now P6 on the hunt for a brilliant recovery drive so far, as he did have a spin earlier in the race, as Matt Pryor just loses out of position now to Baltash. Of course, the soft tyres are going to have a major advantage in the opening laps. Rico unfortunately missed the race today, just got home. Well, hopefully, at the very least, you can enjoy the chaos that I'm going to enjoy here for Tier 1 and support your fellow drivers. Currently, Aston Martin sitting in P7 and P12 on very different strategies, but Boosty so far has capitalized beautifully on those softs, and you can see him still trying to go for positions, unfortunately not able to catch up to Nadim ahead of him. But look at that train. You can see if I clear this information off the screen. Look at the train that we have got running for 4 laps coming around the Bahrain International Circuit. It is quite the sight to see. We're going to jump back to the top. And that is going to be Soybean leading the race, leading his teammate in P2, Mick. And then we have Rico just sitting in P3, got ahead, of course, in Nadim after the spin. So now he's in contention for fighting for a provisional podium, potential leader of the race, as Rico, speaking of the devil, sets the fastest lap, a 1:31.858, and he does look for a move down the inside. He's not quite close enough, but he is closing that gap down. Mix is actually the current bus on the field, holding everyone back. It is a 4-way battle for the lead of the race. Mr. Goat just outside now as I speak about it, outside that 1 second. But Mix has got himself a 1.3, 1.4 second gap to the drivers ahead of him. And he is holding up Nadim. He's holding up Boosty. And this is helping Sylvie really come back into the battle. Of course, on the soft tires with that qualifying ban, he's going to come back into the fight. And it's going to be quite an interesting battle. And there goes Boosty trying to go for a move around the outside. Not quite close enough. Could he go for a switchback down the inside? Not close enough again. I keep seeing smoke from someone. And with this game being as reliable as a paper car, it's difficult to say if someone is actually locking up or not. Even the visuals when people lock up is quite inaccurate, which is quite unfortunate. But Mix now, 1.5 seconds is the gap to go ahead, and he's got two very fast, very competitive drivers behind him, and he is ruining their race. A 1.7 second gap now. It is now or never. Nadim and Boosty have got to get past on this DRS straight if they want to have any chance of closing that gap down to the top 4, as Mick is closing in on his teammate, Rico is closing in on Mick, and Mr. Go is now finally 6.5 tenths. So now, here comes Boosty, here comes Nadim. They're going to go 3 wide almost. Could they do it? They're not going to go 3 wide, but they are going to go 2 wide in the first corner. Down the inside goes Boosty, and beautifully on the brakes, he does get the move done, and he is ahead of the Mercedes. But of course, the Mercedes is going to have the fight back with that DRS. Mix as well with the DRS. Never mind. Nadim, with no DRS whatsoever, crosses the DRS detection zone ahead of the 2 drivers, misses out on a battle, on a fight back. And you can actually see Nadim is flashing. That will mean he is low on ERS already. Unfortunately, I can't see that information. But he is low on ERS just by the indicator flashing at the back. As Boosty, I think, has made just a bit of a mistake there. He's lost 2 positions now. He's under pressure from Sylvie behind. They're going to go 2 wide into the 9th corner, into the 10th corner. Heavy on the braking. Sylvie ahead. He does drift out of the corner. And unfortunately, that's going to lose him a lot of time. And Boosty gets back ahead. Now GG Land as well. He's in a bit of a battle there, trying to get his nose in and ahead of Sylvie there. All the battle right now is in the middle of this field, scrapping away for the last few point-scoring positions. Mix still in P5. 3 seconds is the gap now. He is not teammates to the drivers ahead, but he is certainly helping their race by a country mile. Nadim not leading, unusual. I agree, it is quite unusual to see Nadim not leading, but equally, he has had quite an unfortunate start. With that very early spin, he lost from P3 down to P8, and so now he's in a bit of a train with Mix, and as I say that, he gets through and ahead of Mix now. Clean air for the Mercedes driver, but for how much longer can he keep that clean air? He's going to have 2 drivers behind him with DRS who have been fighting for position constantly, lap in and lap out, and he is blinking. He is low on that ERS, and I think he's going to be able to cover off that battle quite comfortably. Yes, he is. Nadim, P5 now. 2.9 seconds is the gap. So that's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, no, he did spin, but he didn't qualify P1, which is also quite an interesting note for me. You can see, actually, he doesn't stop the car in time, and he does have a massive snap there. Could this be exactly what Mix needs? And, of course, they're going to still be all within a second. Oh, my goodness, look at that train. Nadim to Mix, to Boosty, to Sylvie, to GG Land and Brizen. And just a moment, Julian could be in the mix of that fight. And he is. It is a train all the way down to P12. And P12, unfortunately, Mika is the only driver to receive a 3-second time penalty for track limits. As Mr. Goat, I've just noticed, is now 1.2 seconds off the pack. He's now out of the fight at the moment for DRS. And it is just going to be a 3-way battle. Sylvie now gets through and ahead of... Oh my goodness, they're going to go 3 wide, I think. No, they're not, but GG Land down the inside gets ahead of Boosty. Sylvie gets ahead of Boosty as well. Wobbly McQueen, thank you very much for the 5-month subscription. And we see there actually Mix has to go wide as well. Mix now with a 3-second time penalty, just coming out the final corner, loses traction. And unfortunately, is that Sylvie? Sylvie is blinking. So many drivers blinking on this circuit, a circuit where recharging is very much a possibility, very easy to do. In fact, Wobby, you can confirm this after completing your Tier 2 race. And I have to say, quite an incredible Tier 2 race, Wobby. P1 off of qualifying. What was that? You were on fire. The championship, the fight for F1 was back for you. But from the information I have, ERS gain per lap is around about 6.5, and in a pit stop you only gain 15%, so using it so much in the early stages of this race, and we're only 7 laps in, we're only 1/4 through this race, and being out of ERS now I don't think is going to be very promising for the rest of the race. We'll have to see, of course, one pit stop, or this is a one-stop strategy for everyone on the grid, I believe, even those on the softs. But with a late safety car, just like we had in Tier 2, we had a late safety car for 2 laps of racing with a soft compound of tyre for everyone on the grid. It is going to be quite a spectacle to see what happens for any 2 stops here. What we're looking about 4 to 5 to recharge a lap. It's rubbish here. Hard to save, and you didn't. I mean, at one point you had 60%, whilst the competitors ahead of you, I think it was Vabo and Dietz, had about 30 or 40% when they were leading the race. So you had the advantage for quite a while. The battle is going to keep on going as Mix pulls to the inside. He's going to try and defend the inside line. Let's get rid of this on the screen. You see Gigiland trying to go for a tow. You got Cos Silvi flashing still into the first corner. 3 wide between them all. And I think it's going to be a nice battle now as well. We got Brizen in the back, Boosty at the back, Julian getting into the mix of it as well. Look at that sight. It is now Cos Silvi to Mix, to Gigiland, to Brizen, to Boosty, and to Julian. Cos Silvi, qualified at the back of the grid after having to serve a qualifying ban, along with Boosty, has managed to make his way up the grid through the order and is now in P6. As for a moment there, I did see, and there he is still side by side now, having to slot in behind Mix. Gigiland tried to go for a move down the inside. A beautiful drift from the Alpine. He does run very wide, and although the drift was beautiful, he's going to lose out on a lot of time to the drivers behind. Mix is now half a second. He's also lost nearly a second, I think that was, to the drivers ahead. Come on, McLaren from the team principal. Baltash currently in P14, Gigiland in P8. Baltash with a very poor start, but he is still on the hunt with a 2-10th gap, to Chewy Toffee just ahead of him. Let's get rid of this. There we go. Baltash is my hero. Baltash is everyone's hero. He is on fire. In fact, he's going to try and go for a move now, I think, into this final corner. We've got ourselves, in fact, another battle between Aston Martin, McLaren, Alfa Romeo, and Ferrari, as Mix and Boosty now pit off of their tyres. We'll have a look at what they're pitting off of and onto in a second. But it is going to be a train down into the first corner. We're going to see them going from medium, soft, and medium. And we'll see what they go to. I think it's going to be hard for the entire pack. There is bumping between the Aston Martin and the McLaren there. Doesn't look like any damage. And there is a Mika, unfortunately, a Williams just off the track there. But it is the mediums for the Alpha Tauri team principal, which was quite interesting to see. So we'll have to see. Vers, why can't Mick just move out the way and let the 2 championship rivals fight? I mean, it certainly would be interesting to see them do that. But equally, Mika unfortunately disqualified there, stuck on the track. It would be interesting to see that. Equally, I think it is quite cool to see the Red Bulls fight together. Because, of course, they are not just fighting for the Drivers' Championship. They are also fighting for the Constructors' Championship. So there's still a lot on the line. Mick's got to play the team game here and keep it up. Red Bull 1-2 at the moment for 9 laps in. Boosty now with a 3-second time penalty for track limits. As there goes Mick through and ahead now for the race. So there you go, There you have it, Vers, sorry. Mick gets through, he's out the way, and Rico's now going to come in for the battle for with Soybean for P2 now. And Rico now with the inside line, let's have a look at that. He's got the outside line, he's got the position ahead of Soybean. They've both got DRS, it's going to be a drag race. Now down to P4, to corner 4, sorry. But Rico with that inside line, is he going to stick it ahead? He is going to stick it ahead. He's going to push Soybean wide a little bit there. And he is now on for P2. There you go, Vers. You've got yourself a championship fight between the 2 championship contenders, whilst Mick is out of the fight and leads the race. We are now in that little moment of stasis, little moment of quiet racing whilst the drivers are looking to change their tyres. Many of them should be looking to box off the softs, or I'd say many of them should be Cos and Boosty. Well, Boosty's already pitted, sorry. Just Cos looking to pit soon. Boltash, actually, I think, is still on the softs. He is, along with Panos. So 3 drivers still on the soft tyres running for 9 laps, and their pit window will be opening very soon. Top 4 all on hard, but Nadim 3.5 seconds away. Let's have a look at my information here. The hards can last as far as 19 to 22 laps, so the one stop to the softs are possible, but the hards will be dead. Mediums can last 16 to 19 laps, and the softs are 11 to 13, so we are reaching that time for the softs to drop off slowly, as Soybean now with the DRS is going to try and go for a move down the inside. He's going to hold it on the inside into the first corner. Now for the second corner, hits the apex beautifully. He's holding Rico on the outside. Now Rico on the inside. On the outside again, sorry. It's going to be another DRS drag race between the pair of them. Of course, Red Bull's going to switch the inside, give the toe to his teammate, and that inside line is so powerful. We've seen time and time again. The switchback, though. Rico, hello. Switchback from the Alfa Romeo. He's got the inside line. He's going to have to push. There's contact! Soybean and Rico! Contact between the 2 championship contenders as they went too wide into the second sector. Beautiful sequence of corners has now spun Rico and is now down to P9. I cannot say for certain who is at fault, but that was certainly going to happen. I definitely saw that coming. But a matter of who's at fault, I do not know. But at the moment now, following that incident, it is looking like Soybean and Red Bull are going to win the Constructors and the Drivers' Championship. Still 18 laps to go. So a lot can still happen. Dare I say, we've had a safety car. We had a safety car in the last few laps of the race for Tier 2. That changed up the order of things. Boltash went from like P10 to P3 in a matter of 2 laps. So anything is possible. And if anyone can do it, it is going to be the likes of Soybean or Rico. And in this case, it will be Rico. P9 for the Alfa Romeo driver. But it is now, like the 2024 season, just yesterday, Red Bull 1-2 in the lead, but not by a massive margin. The Deem 2.7 seconds behind. He's on the same compound as the 2 drivers ahead of him. Goat just behind, trailing behind in that DRS on the mediums. And there is the window now where the softs will begin to drop. The softs are on, well, I say begin to soft. They're well past that point. 60% across the board for all soft compound tires on the grid. It is 40% for the mediums across the board, and it is 35% on average across the board for the hard compound runners. Of course, ignoring Boosty and Mix and Zoltz and Chewy at the back grid, who pitted just a few moments ago. I think we're going to see a bit... No, okay, I thought for a second there Soybean was going to get let through. No team orders there for them to let each other through, but they're going to keep on racing. But I don't know if this is going to be optimal for the Red Bull team. Nadim, 2 seconds away now. Lap 13 now, and again, the soft runners are not going to pit, and here comes Soybean now for the lead of the race. He's going to get ahead of his teammate, Cos, Panos, and Boltash. Still not boxing yet. They somehow... No, there we go. All right, the 2 drivers at the back of the grid. We've got Panos and Boltash now on the softs. They're going to pit, but Cos Sylvie still going. 65% are his soft. 75% is the puncture territory, and it will rapidly increase the risk of a puncture by a country mile once you hit past 80%. It starts to skyrocket. And Cos Sylvie, I think at the end of this lap, he's going to potentially have himself a puncture to deal with. And I think he's trying to extend his first stint as much as he can. You can see there a beautiful drift again by Cos Sylvie. The Alpine man loves his drifts around these corners. In fact, this is his favorite corner here. Corner 10 is his best corner for all of the perfect drifts, I have to say. But yeah, Cos, I think he's just trying to extend that first stint as much as he can. So when he pits for that second stint, pits for, I believe it's going to try and go for the mediums, or the hards, I think, is the safest bet. But I think the mediums is going to be the risky play that he might go for and go to the end of the race on the mediums. Wobby, Rico and Soybean in the same VC. Yeah, they love to sit in a call together. The two championship contenders, like I said, two championship contenders, two rivals on track, but two friends off of the track. Sit in a call together and have incidents like this, moments like this. And both Red Bulls do not pit. Mr. Goat is gone in the pits. Cos Sylvie is in the pits. Gigiland, he did look for a moment like he was going to go into the pits. He didn't want to do it last minute. Did a little bit of a dance to try and trick his competitors to dive in the pits as well. So Gigiland on for P4 now with a 5.3 second gap, 5.2 second gap to the drivers ahead. It is now getting to a really quiet point of the race where very few battles are appearing. Or very few battles are coming together. But we are in that pit window. We're going to have to wait for that final stint. 15 laps left of the race. 15 laps left of Season 8. And I said this once before at the start of the race as Chewy Toffee now retires in the pits. This has been a very, very thrilling season. Every week, every round we've always had extremely and extraordinary battles up and down the grid. We've had new drivers on the podiums. We've had old drivers, returning drivers get onto the podium. And we've also had first-time sitters in new teams. So, of course, Panos got his first race victory this season. We had Gigiland on the podium a few times, unfortunately involved in a few contacts as well, which saw him lose out on a few podiums. Soybean, with he was looking very promising. He was looking like he could score himself and break a record. And in fact, I say break a record, set a record for the most wins in a season, most pole positions or most podiums in a season. Unfortunately, he didn't manage to do that with two retirees this race, as Nadim now pits onto the mediums from the hards onto the mediums, now looking to finish 14 laps on those mediums to the end of the race. Soybean and Mick, now this is starting to feel real life. The Red Bulls are looking like proper Red Bulls with a 7-8 second gap now. But yeah, we've had multiple race winners, multiple different drivers score to the top, and now we're going to have ourselves a safety car. As what happened there for Boosty? Boosty's lost the front right of his tyre. Boosty, who pitted 6 laps ago on the pit straight, he's lost the car. He's lost it on the main straight, perhaps with a battle in another driver, and has lost it into the wall. And so now the race has been neutralized, but unlike a safety car, every driver has to reduce their pace by, I believe it is 60%. Down to 40% of race pace is what they're expected to adhere to and follow the delta. And as soon as a virtual safety car is cleared, they are back to racing. And there is no clumping of the grid. You still lose half the time in the pits. You still only lose around, 10 seconds in the pits. But no driver closes that gap. So Zoltz is not going to come to right behind the gearbox of Baltash, nor is Nadim going to come right to the gearbox of Matt Price. So there you have it. The safety car, or the virtual safety car, is over, and we are back to racing. And we've had our second retiree, and unfortunately, I know Fat Cat, when he watches this back, he's going to be very upset to see this, but unfortunately Fat Cat and the Aston Martin team are out of the points and have got a double retiree, double DNF for the second time, or third time this season, in fact, as Soybean, championship leader, has gone into the pits now. He's going to serve his stop as his teammate continues to lead on with an 8-second gap. And look at those three beautiful colours. Orange, then red, then blue. McLaren, then Ferrari, then Alpine in a battle for P2 at the moment. And they are all still on their first stint of the race. Team principal from McLaren sharing their love for their driver, currently sitting in P2, who has, as I mentioned, scored a few podiums this season. And if he gets his strategy right, if he gets all of the strategy calls right, all the positions for defending and attacking right, he could be. There is potential for a podium. I'll say that much. I'm not gonna jinx it, but there is potential for a podium, and I'd love to see the kid be able to make it up there again. Now, let's have a look. Going to chuck this on to the leader because we're going to see Soybean with a 21.2 second gap to the leader at the moment. And he has just pitted for fresh tyres. He's pitted for the fresh mediums to go to the end of the race. And all the drivers, in fact, will be looking to finish on the softs or on the mediums now. GG wants you to read what I said. I said... Okay. Wobby said that he loves GG. I never said there's nothing wrong with that, okay? I was just trying to say that you were showing your praise and your love and support for him, okay? I try and not quote everything that's said in the chat. That can go horribly wrong horribly quickly. As Brizen now, for I believe the second time this season, is going to lead the pack. As everyone pits for their second stint. And Nadeem... Oh my god, Nadeem, who pitted a lap before Soybean, has gotten ahead of Soybean, and he is low on that ERS as well. It didn't hold up for much as Soybean down the inside. A beautiful move from the Red Bull does manage to regain the lead of the race again. Well, provisional lead. I say that, Nadeem on the fight back. This is going to be a battle to go on for a long time. Nadeem and Soybean have mentioned. I've also seen with our partner league, they had a very feisty battle in Tier 1 yesterday evening, so it's going to be a rematch for the pair of them, and of course we'd love to see Rico in the fight of this battle, in the fight for the championship battle as well, as we have a yellow flag there. Unfortunately, Team Principal AlphaTauri just at the back of the grid, not having a delightful time, but always putting in the effort week in, week out. Oh, wrong buttons. Let's get back to the intervals. There we go. Nadeem ahead though. Boosty, Cos cooking Boosty into the wall again, cold. Contact between the Aston Martin and the Alpine. And the stewards are going to have a fun time to have a look at the incidents that happen. I know Tier 2 is going to be quite the chaotic session. Oh my god, I'm struggling for words now. Quite the chaotic cluster of reports for the drivers, as now Julian is going to box. Brizen still out on the hard compound tyres with a 9.5 second gap. 17 lap old hards compared to 2 lap, 3 lap and 1 lap old medium behind. And only one driver is looking to finish the race on the softs at the moment. That's Julian looking to finish the race on the softs. We're going to see 2 wide between the Red Bull and the Mercedes. It's almost like 21-esque, the 2021-esque season all over again. But this time, instead of at Abu Dhabi, this is at Bahrain, and we have no championship decided between the pair of them. Just a very exciting battle between the pair of them. And we're going to have to see what they can do, as we have a nice battle here between Rico and Mix. Mix going down the inside again after a mistake. He's got the inside line, but unfortunately not quite got the power. There is contact between the Alfa Romeo and the Haas there, but unfortunately, fortunately, both parties involved are not spun round. And now Alfa Romeo up into P7 and P8. Exactly, yes. It's like everything, like Abu Dhabi 21, but everything is different. It's exactly the same, if you look at it from that perspective. It's perfect. But now, Mercedes, Red Bull sandwich. Oh, for a second there, I did not think Mick was going to be able to stop in time, as now Ferrari for Brizen has pitted off of the hards. I think he's definitely going to go for the softs. There's no chance he's going to go for the mediums. Yep, the softs it is for the Ferrari driver to the end of the race. And now, this is where it gets interesting. Unfortunately, Rico, with 10 laps left to go, he's still got to climb another 6 places. And he's got to outscore Soybean. I think someone mentioned it, by 6 or 7 points. So he's got to win the race, while Soybean only scores P2 with no fastest lap, if my math is right. So the chances are slim, but the chances are still there. 10 laps left to go. Safety car is enabled. We've already had a virtual safety car. We had a safety car with 2 laps left to go in Tier 2. I have no clue what to expect for this race. And we have a lot of damage on the grid. I've just had a look at my little datasheet, but both Alpines have front wing damage. Now, it looks to be minor. It does look to be minor enough, because he is closing the gap. Both of them are slowly closing the gap. Julian in a nice little battle, a neat little battle for P6. Rico is leading the pack at the moment. The 4.5 second gap to Cos Silvi. But then, of course, Cos Silvi, he's got the front wing damage. How detrimental is that to his race? How much time is he losing? And he's losing either he's losing enough, or Rico, of course, with the fresh tyres, he's going to find that pace. He's not got fresher tyres, but he certainly has potentially maintained those tyres. Let's have a look, actually. Rico pitted a lap before Carl Silvi. No, okay. Verz, I'm just a man of contradicting statements at this moment, because I thought Rico was on fresher tyres. He's not. Not only is he not on fresher tyres, as we see, oh my goodness, Mick's going very wide out to the final corner. He's going to dive into the pits now, I believe. He is. And Julian goes through for P8. That was... Mix has retired. No, the Haas team principal and full-time driver for the team has retired from the session. I need to have a sip of water. But what happened there? Mix just ran a bit wide, and I don't see any damage to his car. No front wing, no rear wing damage. So I can't explain what happened there. Right, 9 laps left to go, and we've got ourselves a train going from P8 all the way down to P5. We've got a train between P3 and P1. Of course, Nadim on the hunt for a race victory for his return this season. He did have one race earlier this season. He reserved in for Mercedes again, retired before the end of the lap 1. So could this be his redemption arc? Could it be his redemption race? And be able to finish out the top step of the podium? As Gigiland gets through and ahead of Cos Silvi. Cos Silvi, I think the front wing perhaps not helping him a lot. His teammates just behind him, and I thought for a second there we might have seen the two Williams or the two Alpines collide. Almost like Australia all over again. As Boltash now receives a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Mix, I had to drive with an orange front wing damage the entire first stint. Oh dear lord. That would have been horrendous to drive on a circuit like this where you really want to have that downforce, especially in that second sector. I cannot imagine the pain that has caused you. As we're going to see 2 wide between the Alpine and the McLaren. And for a moment there, I thought they were going to go 3 wide into the first corner. Now coming out the second corner, second DRS straight up the hill. The Alpines are going to battle out between the pair of them. DRS for one, DRS not for the other. And Julian is going to lead the Alpines now ahead of Cos Silvi. And now on for the battle to Gigiland. Rico, after a very early spin, on the first stint, sorry, he had a spin with his competitor and his dear friend, Mr. Soybean, is on the hunt. He's in P8 at the moment with 2 Alpines that he's got to dispatch before he gets ahead. I had to pit early, therefore my tyres were dead before lap 17. That is not a fun mix. I did say please don't have a mix issue, and you had exactly that. I blame it on the bathtub POV. That's how I would describe your point of view, if I'm honest. It's a great point of view. I love racing cockpit view, but it does feel like a bathtub point of view. the way how low you have the camera angle. But I respect it. You know, I respect it. Next season is your season. Let's see. It'll be interesting to see what Haas has in store for us. But this is going to be the only battle, I think, to the end of the race. Rico, who unfortunately is not going to be in contention for a race victory, as Soybean gets ahead of his teammate now for P2. Beautiful camera angle there. But it is just the battle for Rico. The battle to try and climb as many positions as he can in the hopes, in the potential outcome where a late safety car can flip this entire race upside down. 3.5 tenths now to Cos Silvi. Of course, with that front wing damage, you can see he's definitely losing out on a lot of time. 1.5 seconds to the battle ahead between his teammates and Gigiland. Julian and Gigiland against one another. Darkness does not trust the process. I trust the process. I question the process. There's no harm with questioning it. You know, I want to know more. I want to learn more about the process before I trust the process entirely and wholeheartedly. As we now come down into turn 10. Lock up there from Rico, I think. As now both Ferraris are right on his tail. And he's got to try and get ahead of Cos Silvi. And try and help use Cos Silvi to help aid his race. And battle the Ferraris behind. Brizin and Panos running in the last few point scoring positions. Why? I cannot have hiccups again. I've had a hiccupless season as Brizin down the inside. Beautiful move, of course, on the soft compound tyres. He went on the extra long stint. 18 laps on those hards. Now finishing the race on the softs. He dispatches both Rico and Cos Silvi Like that. Snap of his fingers, and the grip is there, and of course he has got the position. P7 now for Ferrari. 7 and 10. Process. Don't do anything except for F1 until next season starts. You know what? Fair enough. I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to see 3 wide. Look at that angle as we see Brizan defending from Silvi on the outside, Rico on the inside, and now Brizan still just ahead. DRS, he's going to go to the inside. I'm struggling with my words. He sticks to the... I can't. Give me a moment. I need a breath. Rico now through for P8. I'm messing up my words mix. I'm having a darkness skill issue at the moment. I am having a major darkness skill issue. But as I was trying to say, it is a battle between Brizan, Rico, Silvi, and Panos. Rico does get through and ahead of Silvi. So the Alpine is now going to help him in his battle to keep Panos behind, but he's going to try and get ahead Brizan as soon as he can. Whilst the drivers in the Constructors' Championship is not going to go his way, he can still look to score as many points in a season finale race with Alfa Romeo. And hopefully, the market has not opened yet, but the team principals will be looking to sign their drivers in this next coming week. And perhaps, I can't imagine Alfa Romeo looking to drop their star driver, Rico, who has fought brilliantly. He's coped brilliantly throughout this whole season. He has finally scored his first race victory as well. Perhaps next season can be his redemption arc. And I'm saying that, it sounds like I'm being very pessimistic. It sounds like there is no chance in the world for Rico to win. There is still always that chance on the table for the Alfa Romeo drivers. The chances on the table for every driver on the grid. As Julian down the inside, beautiful camera angle to see the Williams have to just go a bit wide there. Unfortunately, not able to defend as much as he wants to, and he loses out on P4 now. 8.5 seconds is the gap between P3 and P4. But the fight is not over. But realistically, I'm sorry, Rico, when you watch back at this. I've made my predictions. As Silvi into that beautiful corner. The corner that he loves to drift around the corner. We've seen him constantly lose traction. Is heavy on the braking, heavy on the throttle. You don't want to go too heavy on the throttle. You need to make sure you upshift if you are going to go heavy on the throttle, or you will lose the car multiple times. It is worse than the death curb. The death curb now that Panos has just gone round. Now we're coming into the second to final corner, closing in the gap on Silvi there. And I think we're going to see the Ferrari finally go for a move on the Alpine just ahead. DRS will be enabled for the Ferrari to come round the final corner for the 26th lap of this race, 25th lap of this race, sorry. Silvi cannot do anything. He's going to be a sitting duck. He's got to deplete all of his ERS if he's going to have any chance of defending this position. And it doesn't look like he's going to defend anything for this position. He's going to sit on the outside. Panos to the inside and into the braking zone. It is going to be a comfortable move for the Ferrari man as he goes up into P9 now. As Chichilan now receives a 3-second time penalty for track limits. One of 2 drivers, in fact, only McLaren to have scored the track limits penalty this race so far, at least for those to finish the race. As the Alpine tried to defend the inside, late on the brakes, couldn't quite stop the car, unfortunately, loses out the position, not just by a second, by nearly 1.2 seconds on the exit of that corner. So now Panos on P9, but as I was saying, the McLarens, unfortunately, have just got 3-second time penalty, 2 3-second time penalties for the pair of them. And Robin McQueen, team principal for McLaren, Gigi, I don't love you anymore. Well, that's very harsh. You can't say that. The man scored you multiple podiums, all right? The man has scored you multiple podiums. Servius, welcome to the chat. Soybean should be penalised. Why should soybean be penalised? I mean, he isn't Red Bull after all. I do appreciate penalising a Red Bull, and I agree with that. Definitely not being biased against Red Bull. But we'll have to see. The stewards are going to have a fun time on Tuesday evening. Of course, the reports will open on Monday. The drivers have an opportunity to create the reports for themselves. And the stewards on Tuesday evening are going to have quite a delightful time. I think I'll have to order some coffees for them, because they'll be staying up a little late, I believe, to have a look at all these reports, all these incidents that you have all been involving yourselves in. Come on, guys. I know I'm slow, but even I save myself away from all the reports. Come on. I've got no leg to stand on. I murdered myself at Kota last season, but come on. As we switch over to the other Red Bull, because you... What? You never buy it? I'm never near anyone. Yeah, that's right, exactly. I avoid penalties because I'm not near anyone. But we're going to switch over to the... we're going to switch over to the other Ferraris. He's now under pressure from Rico behind. 3/10 is the gap between the pair of them. Of course, the soft tyres will give him the advantage. But if we have a look at the tyres, 7 laps are his tyres, and 11 to 13 is the window for when the softs really drop off a cliff. And we are hitting, or rather we're not hitting, we have hit that 30% mark where the tyres will lose a good portion of their grip. So now the favour is towards the Alfa Romeo, is in favour to the sister team for Ferrari. But there are no team orders here to let Alfa Romeo through. The championship fight for constructors is between the pair of us. And the drivers may not be our battle, but the constructors holds more weight. We get to reap more rewards from the constructors, or at least not that I will, because I'll be retiring, but I'd like to reap the rewards and, you know, take that money home for myself. But Rico, 1/10 behind. He's almost pushing that Ferrari along. It's ridiculous how much speed he's got. And I think on this run up the hill now, coming down to the 4th corner, he is going to be close. He's not going to be close enough for a move, but he's going to close that gap down. And perhaps into the 2nd sector. He's going to have the grip. This sequence of corners, we're going to go through it now. We've got the left-hander, take as much curb on the inside. Now mount the curb, turn right, don't take too much of the curb. Again, another one where if you step your tyre over the curb, that's it, you're gone. Now for the destined turn 8. So many incidents at this corner, especially for Rico. You can hear, you heard for a moment, he went off the throttle, back on the throttle. Too cautious, didn't want the car to spin. And now massive lock up there from Brizin. As he does, of course, have less grip on those tyres. He's going to try and stop the car as much as he can. He's not going to be able to stop it as much as he used to. So he's now come through for the 3rd sector in just a moment. Long left-hander, then the quick right-hander. Again, careful on the inside curb. You can mount it, not too much. You want to curb. You want to get your car spun out by a curb, which I think tends to happen more often than drivers spinning themselves out, to be honest. Mix and Boosty and Haas next season going to be a DNF haven. Well, I mean, Haas, I was hoping Haas would score points and win a championship, unlike real-life Haas. You know, you're the Gunther Steiner of the world at the moment, but you need to be scoring those points and scoring those wins. As we have ourselves a nice little battle here between Soybean, Mick, and Nadim. Again, the 3 of them still fighting out too wide. Well, for a second there, it was going to be too wide between Mercedes and Red Bull. Unfortunately, Nadim not quite close enough. Mick is going to try and push his teammate along now. Could it be a battle between the teammates? I'm not certain. I know they're in the call together, but I'm not certain they're going to have team orders here. I think they're just going to fight it out and enjoy the final few laps of this race for the season finale. It's going to have a battle now between Gigi Land going onto the curb there. He does lose the car for a moment. A beautiful camera angle to see them battle. 3 cars, Mr. Goat, Julian, and Gigi Land all fighting for P4 at the moment. Of course, with that 3-second time penalty, Gigi Land will lose out on the position. He's flashing as well. He's low on that ERS. Now round the corner. DRS is going to be wide open for 2 drivers, but not the McLaren man. The McLaren man's going to be defenseless, as you see there a bit of weaving there from the Alpine. I think perhaps just trying to warm up his tyres. Gigi Land is on fire. He is hunting down the drivers ahead of him. He's trying to build a gap behind him. Mr. Goat turns on rocket boost and wins on last lap. Well, if Mr. Goat did that, Vuz, if he genuinely did that, I'd shave my head. Let's go with that, because I know it's not going to happen. And the love for Gigi Land is back with that beautiful double overtake ahead of the 2 blue cars. But I think he's going to lose them both out again. Gigi Land, with the love from his team principal, loses it in just one straight, potentially, as he loses both the Alpine and the Williams just on that straight. We're going to see a bit of a battle there as well at the back between Rico and Brizin. Again, Brizin with no ERS, DRS. You are a curse, Werby, at this... Werby? Werby. You are a curse at this point, Werby. But Rico gets ahead of the Ferrari now. God, how did I call you Werby? How did I get Werby from Wobby and Webby? I don't understand. That is brilliant. And now with just 1.5 sectors left to go, we still got ourselves a battle for P1. Soybean, Nadim, and Mikkel still fighting very closely. Half a second splitting the top three. Julian looking very good and very comfortable in P4 at the moment. Gigiland with a 3-second time penalty provisionally will lose positions to Rico and Brizin behind, remain in P8 at the end of the race. And with just one corner left to go, it is looking like a double podium for Red Bull. But more importantly, the big news here at Bahrain tonight, Soybean will cross the line to win the Season 8 Drivers' Championship and secures, with his teammate on the podium step with him, secures that Constructors' Championship. Julian crosses the line now. 9.9 seconds is the gap between the top three, and then he gets to P4. Goat for P5, Rico for P6. A great battle was put up by the Alfa Romeo team, but unfortunately Rico, with an unfortunate incident in the second sector, loses out on an incredible battle to the line. Brizin for P7. As I mentioned, Gigiland with a 3-second time penalty down to P8. Panos for P9. Cos Silvi having to manage that front wing damage really well. Scores P10. Can I just say, though, I don't know who I would vote for Driver of the Day. I don't know if I'd go for Cos, if I'm honest. But Julian managed a damaged front wing and finished the race with 55% on his tyres. Mr. Goat is Driver of the Day. We'll have a look at the positions. There you go. So the reason why Cos Silvi got it, he went from P17 to P10. Brizin from P12 to P7. Julian from P7 to P4. That is curious. I don't know. I think I'm not being biased, but I think I'm going to have to go for between Goat and Brizin. I think they are both very good. They are both very fast drivers. Unfortunately, they still have not yet won a race, the pair of them. They need to win a race. They have the pace to win a race and the talent and the skill to win a race. But they both deserve it, I think. We're going to give it to them both. That's going to be my opinion. Hopefully, I can get an interview with, at the very least, I'd like to have a chat with Soybean. Imagine not having won a race. I've not won a race. That's a lie, actually. I have won a race. I have won a race. But Soybean, Crash Rico, and win championship. Well, you say that. I don't know if it was. I don't know if Rico is at fault. I don't know if Soybean's at fault. It's difficult. Because for the angle I had, I was on board with Rico as they hit and they made contact with each other. Even a DNF King has won the race. Have you, Mix? Yes, you have. You have won a race in Tier 1, haven't you? That is quite impressive. Well done. But that is going to be the end for Tier 1. The end of our F1 2023 season with Red Bull. No surprise it's Red Bull. Of course it has to be Red Bull. But they fought brilliantly. They had great strategy. Soybean, incredibly fast. Absolutely insane pace all throughout the season. One race where he had a power cut. That lost him the race at Australia. Put him into the wall. And unfortunately at Brazil, it was a sprint race around Brazil. Word for word, he said he was driving like a grandma, whatever that means. So he lost concentration. He lapsed concentration on the corners and lost the car. So Soybean could have gone on for a perfect season, winning every round. He had the pace, he had the drivers, he had not the drivers, sorry, he had the strategy to be able to pull that off. But unfortunately, he just missed out on that opportunity just by a small margin. Perhaps next season though, but as much as I'd love to see Soybean and Red Bull win every race next season, I think there's going to be a lot of competition. We haven't just got Rico now. We have the potential of Cos in the battle, Mr. Goat. We might see, well, of course, Soybean will be in the battle. We might see returning drivers. Perhaps Nadim could be in the battle again, and so many more. Gigiland has got the pace. You know, I can't list them all. If I list them all, I'm going to be here all day. I'll be here all day. But Soybean, massive congratulations to him and to his team. They managed to secure a brilliant championship victory there. And it's a double constructor finish as well. So very proud of them both. But let's have a chat. First, let's have a chat to... we'll have a chat with Soybean. So bear with me whilst I get them into the call, and we are going to speak to our race winners. Oh, it's three things. I say race winners. It's our race winners. It's our constructors and drivers championships winners. So many things in one go. But let's have a look. And let's chat to, first of all, let's chat with Soybean. First of all, with your team principal, a massive congratulations to you and the team. You guys were on fire this season in Tier 1. I'm only going to talk about Tier 1, because unfortunately I've not seen all the Tier 2 races, but for Tier 1, on fire. Soybean, just tell me, what's going through your heads for that race? Because you had a very nice battle with your teammate at the start of the race, but then at the end of the race, Nadim came into the picture, and it wasn't smooth sailing, or so it seemed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously whenever Nadim's there, it's not going to be easy. But yeah, I think he kind of got taken out the picture a bit at the start, but then he got the undercut, and it was just one lap, so not that much of a difference. And he just managed to stick in the DRS and recharge, even though we had full batteries and he was pretty much empty. Recharged behind me, and then yeah, we had a good fight, had some fun at least, because Rico decided to take himself out pretty early on as well. So at least we got a fight with someone, and yeah, but it was fun, and I knew that unless we did something stupid, I wasn't gonna get taken out by either of them. And yeah, it was fun, and in the end, obviously not completely smooth, like 1 minute in the lead, like Max Verstappen or something like that, but that would have been boring. So at least it's made it a little bit more interesting. And yeah, we brought the result home as well. It wasn't too much of a challenge this time, thankfully, but yeah, would have liked Rico to stay up there with us, but still good enough. And it's his own fault, and he knows that. So, oh well, massive skill issue from him, but it is what it is. And yeah, we'll see what happens next time.
We move on and learn to pick ourselves up, and hopefully next season we'll have another thrilling battle between the pair of you. Myths, what about yourself? You saw your driver go on to not only win you as a team the Drivers' Constructors title, for you to have that little achievement on your chest, but also the Constructors for Tier 1. And it wasn't just any Constructors title, it was a double podium to finish out the season to secure that Constructors. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, am I happy with the results? We had a really great season, especially Soybean. I mean, I never seen a driver like him. Then we also had Mick at the end of the season. He had some less luck, but today he showed he has the pace. He's able to fight, and he's able to stick with Soybean. So I can't be more happy with 2 podiums at the last race. Secure the World Drivers Championship and the Constructors Championship. And also for Tier 2, like we get the Constructors as well. And now we have 3 in total on the Red Bull team in the last 2 seasons. So let's see what we can bring next season.
And with a 2-week break, how are you looking to spend your time over the 2-week break? Of course, Soybean, I'm sure you're going to take some time off to relax, but you could also get some practice in. The calendar is going to be released this week. What are your thoughts? What are you excited for next season? Do you think the competition is going to be the same for next season?
Well, for the most part, I think so, but maybe Nadim will show up a few more times, might make it a bit more interesting, and hopefully the calendar's a bit more suited to me at least, so we'll do even better next time. But I don't think I'll be practicing when the calendar comes out. I'll probably be just playing a bit less, like just doing open lobbies and maybe preserving in 1 or 2 different leagues for fun or something like that. But yeah, I think next season will be a different challenge, but I don't think we'll be far off, if not in the lead. So maybe we can break a few more records. I don't know if I got the one from this season, but there is another win, so we'll see, I guess, and we'll see if we can replicate Max Verstappen as well, because he is clearly about to cook everyone again for another year. So
he is, yeah, and I'm glad that you weren't the Max Verstappen for this season. I'm hoping you're not the Max Verstappen next season, because you guys really make me work for my lungs. I I'm going to need a new pair if there's going to be more than 3 people fighting for the lead of the race. But I do look forward to it because it does make every race that much more interesting. But yeah, congratulations again, Myths securing on that Constructors Championship, and then of course Soybean with that Drivers Championship. And I look forward to see what you guys have got in store for us for next season. I still dislike Red Bull, but you're making me like him a little bit in Phoenix. So I'll give you that much.
Thank you very much. That's the goal in the end. But you know, I love the Mercedes, but you know, the Red Bulls. There is something also about the Red Bull. Obviously, not a nice and small, thin car as well. Not fat like the other ones, but it's obviously. I think it's a good-looking car, even though they never change it. It is still a good livery, and I do like racing with it, and won't mind another season of it as well. And then when the new game comes out, the exact same thing, or you know,
They never change it.
We will see.
Maybe Mitz takes over Mercedes and gives me that car, because I would like that.
We'll have to see. Well, again, congratulations, and hope you enjoy this 2-week break. And as I mentioned, the calendar will be out this week, so keep an eye out for that.
Okay, we'll do.
We will, yeah.
Awesome. Now we're going to speak. So we're not going to speak to our podium sitter, unfortunately. When the team is in there, but we're not going to speak to him first. We're actually going to speak to Rico. Rico, I'm sorry, I saw you were having a conversation there, but I wanted to have a chat with you before I spoke to anyone else, because you are the championship contender. You were having quite a thrilling battle for the first stint of that race, but unfortunately,
I made a mistake.
Going side by side into that second sector, that vortex of doom second sector where you can't really go too wide. You made contact with
No,
Soybean.
I was literally saying to Soybean, let's make this shit let's make it exciting for Darkness. And then I switched back to him.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you saw, but in turn 4 I switched back to him, and then I told him, bro, I'm not gonna back out. But then I was like way too scared, and then hit the inside curb a bit too much, and then understeered into his rear. And then I got stuck on the curb, and then I had to restart the truck.
Well, that's fine. You followed our rules to a T, so that is what's important. But unfortunately, that spin costed you the fight for the championship.
Yeah, but I wanted to have a fun race. To be fair, like, I knew
did you have fun?
Soybean was at the first start, yeah. At the start, yeah, and then I just did my own race. But I was really struggling on the hards. Like I was like on 10% the whole time, and then they were like on 90%.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well,
but I was really struggling for some reason.
I mean, it happens. You know, it happens. But you gave us quite. You gave me quite the worry for a moment there. That contact, although it was quite light, the first thought I had was he's going to retire from this incident. Thankfully, you didn't. You kept on going. You didn't dive in the pits to call it quits, and you kept on fighting. A great battle at the end there as well with the Alpine. Cos Sylvie, unfortunately, with the front wing damage.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that, but like at one point, like he was nearly standing still on the apex, and then I was like, oh, he probably has wing damage. And then yeah, I just overtook him.
It was, as I was mentioning, it was a good battle with them, a good battle with Ferrari, and it was well-deserved points. It wasn't where you should have been, but at least you still walked away with something in hand to say, you know, I finished that race and still, you know, scored something for the team, and that's good. At the end of the day, that is very good, and it's very good for the team game, securing that P2 in the championship for the constructors.
Yeah, but what was my teammate doing, man? He was in front of Soybean, and he just let him go. Unbelievable.
I can't say anything for that.
No, I saw it on the mini map, and then Soybean was like, "Oh, your teammate just let me pass." Oh, nice, great.
Great teamwork.
Yeah.
But
no, it's whatever. It's whatever.
It is whatever. As I mentioned, to Soybean, the calendar will be out this week. You've got yourself a 2-week break.
I heard Australia was first.
Oh, I wonder where you heard that from. But with a 2-week break,
I wonder who.
With a 2-week break, what are you planning to do? Are you going to practice on your slow tracks, the tracks where you know you have that skill issue? Or are you going to just enjoy the time and just live life, basically.
Probably gonna leave this league and drive another league. Like
Wow. Okay.
SKG or something.
You know what? You know what? You're banned. Not having that here.
Nah, awful decision. Nah, I don't know. I would have joined Ferrari since you were there, but since you left, I'm not.
Well,
So that's unfortunate. And then I wanted to stay at Alfa Romeo, and then my two homies left.
yeah, your team
So-
principals towards the end of the season unfortunately didn't stick around for the full journey and left you before the end of the season.
Bro, they had
I'm
no...
sure that had quite a heavy thought in your mind for the rest of the season,
Yeah,
knowing that your
man.
team principals just betrayed you like that.
Bro, I couldn't sleep for like 2 weeks.
I can imagine the pain that must have caused you, and I'm really sorry that
Yeah.
you had to go through that. But hopefully we can look to brighter futures next season.
Yeah, well, is next season on this game still?
Yes, so next season will be on the 2023 game, and we'll have to see how 24 does on release.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, congratulations on finishing out the season. First of all,
Thank you. Thanks for commentating.
Always, thank you for
Always,
eroding my lungs.
it's always
This race
no
was a bit of a
problem.
shambles for me. I had to take a breath quite a few times.
I hope
Um,
you liked the little battle between me and Soybean.
It was great. It was great
Doomed myself.
until you killed yourself, and then I was kind of speechless as to what on earth just happened.
Yeah, I was like, after that switchback, I was like, there's no... Bro, I need to make this overtake count. And then, yeah, it's whatever.
Happens. Well,
Easy
congratulations again on at least finishing the race, finishing out the season. You got your first race victory, so I'm proud of you on that one. And I look forward to
Yes,
see what you
sir.
have in store for us next season.
Thank you.
And
That's...
Are you looking?
I dragged you. I dragged myself, not you.
Nice.
And we are going to have time for just one more interview, just one more, and we're going to make it quick for the rest of the season. We're only going to do one more. I'm sorry, Cos, but we're going to have a chat with the other podium sitter. We're going to speak to Nadim, who secured, for the second time reserving this season, he managed to secure a podium for Mercedes and thankfully did not retire. The last time he raced, I cannot remember what track, he retired within like a lap, maybe two, which is quite unfortunate for him. So we'll have a quick word with him and see what he thought of that race. Mr. Nadim, welcome to the Combox. First of all, it is wonderful to see you back on track. You were qualifying, you were a little slower than I expected, but the race you did not hold back. You really showed your pace. You really showed that you are back to fight for the race victory. I mean, tell me what's going through your head for that race.
Chaos, I would have to say. Obviously, qualifying, I mean, I didn't even practice for today. I just went 30 minutes before the race and I said, okay, let me put in a few laps. I knew I was not going to get pole from Soybean. But yeah, Soybean is very good at qualifying, and me, obviously, sometimes very shaky. But yeah, I think very eventful. Obviously, Rico spinning me out on lap 1 was not ideal for my race, but I was able to have more battles and I was able to come back. Obviously, at the second stint on those mediums, I was able to catch up to Soybean and Mick, and we had a really, really nice battle until the end, where obviously just Soybean and Mick playing the ultimate team game and, just trying to somehow get my way through, possibly trying to get P1, but it was just not possible at the end. But yeah, overall, I think it's a nice comeback to obviously it's the final race of the season, but to be back in Phoenix and to do a race, I mean, it's been a long time, so I'm quite happy, to be honest.
I'm really curious to know. I'm not sure if anyone else is curious to know this, but I know you bought a wheel a while back. Was that you on the wheel, or are you back on the controller for this race?
No, I'm still on controller. I'm never backing down from the controller. I mean, it is my bread and butter, and I'm probably gonna continue at least at the end of the game. Obviously, when the new one comes out, we'll see what happens. But at least for now, the controller is staying. But all I have to say is, it's only a matter of time before the switch happens, which is slowly but surely coming there. Still working on it, but it will come.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again, podium on your returning race, fully finished return race. Because if I recall correctly, the first time you reserved, you retired within the first lap.
Yeah,
So,
I got absolutely decent, and then I went into barrier, and yeah.
Didn't end well for you and your car. Well, it's good to see you back on the track. It's amazing to see you actually finish the race with all 4 tyres on your car. So well done on that. And it's not just any return, it's a return to the podium as well. So I look forward to seeing you racing more often with us next season. Hopefully a team principal does snatch you and sign you up for that tier 1 lineup. We'll have to see. Of course, the market will open soon. But yeah, congratulations. Well-deserved P2 at the end of that race. And I look forward to seeing you next season.
Thank you very much.
I'm feeling nice. Cos Sylvie, let's have a chat with you, buddy. How are you doing? How was that
Hello.
race?
It was stressful, but I mean, at least I got my teammate to P4, so that's what matters.
It's a good team game. I also noticed that you and your teammate were having to manage front wing damage the entire race. How bad was that front wing damage? Or was it so light you didn't notice?
No, it was horrible. It was like driving like 70% worn hards on the front tires and like new softs on the rears. That's how it felt.
Oh god.
Like I could get the traction down, but the car just didn't turn. The car just didn't turn, and you know, I tried my best to hold everyone up for Julian because he was on the soft. I told him to take the risk, take the gamble, don't go hard, go soft, and he did that, and it worked out for him. And yeah, I mean, just had an incident with Boosty. He moved over very, very late on me, and you know, I couldn't do anything to avoid it. Kind of similar to Alonso on Stroll on Austin 2022. So yeah, I mean, sorry to him, but I couldn't have done anything. I don't know why he even tried defending, considering he was an old hard. I was in brand new mediums, but yeah, I mean,
It's racing. These things
result.
happen, unfortunately.
yeah, but I'm happy that at least, you know, we got a P4, good team result. We hold P4 in constructors, I think, and you know, if next season I drive full time, everyone knows what will happen. So we'll have to see.
Everyone knows the Monaco King could return next season and absolutely demolish the field. I mean, I'm hoping to see you back on the track. Of course, you raced for me, for Ferrari, a couple seasons back, helped secure the Constructors' Championship in Season 5 with that sensational drive around Monaco. I don't think I'll ever forget that one. And seeing you in the Alpines. The first team I actually got signed with when the TP system came into place. So it's almost like a full circle, not really. But no, I do look forward to seeing you back on the track. Hopefully in a full-time seat again next season.
Yeah, I mean, well, so far in Phoenix, I've only had like short stints, I guess. Like, I never finished the whole season. You know, I would do just a couple races, and yeah. But you know, I did what I could, and this season, having missed 4 races, I think so, right? And getting taken out in well, I had and also the wheel dying on me on Jeddah last race, and today wing damage that held me back. But if you and in Monza I got taken out as well. But if you like consider all the races I didn't take part in, and look at the gap between me and the top of the championship, I think I had a shot at the title if I had a bit better luck. Especially considering that more towards the start of the season, the tracks were more of my liking, really. And I think it would have done very well, especially in Japan and Australia. That 2 tracks that I'm very fond of. So,
well,
yeah,
all eyes on next season. All eyes on you, potentially in the Alpine. I mean, if you're racing in the Alpine next season, I think Alpine have a good shot of winning the championship. And that's me being very optimistic, considering the competition that you'll have. You'll have Soybean potentially in the Nadim, Rico. You'll have so many names up there fighting for the lead. I think it's going to be quite probably the fiercest battle we'll ever have will be next season, the final season for F1 23. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for joining tonight. Thank you for racing with us for the second half full time for Season 8. And well, I look forward to your first full season with us next season. Here's hoping that next season is
hoping. Yeah. Hey, you know the meme? Nah, I'd win.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see.
Perfect.
Anyway, see you, Darkness.
Ciao.
Hope you have a good day.
And that will be all, ladies and gentlemen. Tier 1 and the Season 8. F1 2023 Season 8 is now complete, and it's wrapped up in spectacular fashion with great races around a beautiful circuit, a great calendar for the entire of Season 8, and as I've mentioned before, Season 9 calendar will be out very soon, so keep an eye out for announcements and pings. If you haven't signed up already, sign-ups are open. Just to react for now, we will have more information coming out soon. That has been exciting, but it is not over for Season 8. ACC continues on to next round, Round 10 at Kialami for ACC, so be sure to check that out, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun races. Perhaps I might decide to jump back in the combox during the 2-week break and not give my lungs a break and give you guys some more fun races, some fun 5-lapper or 100% championship races to enjoy over the 2-week break. Thank you everyone for joining, and well, see you next week for ACC, and see you in 2 weeks for Season 9 to begin. Thank you everyone.